Hey, I'm Joris from Netflix, and we are here in Denmark to talk a little bit more about Netflix on the TV and what's changing, and Netflix on a website and what's changing soon. So you might know Netflix on the TV. This is the user experience you get if you're using a newer model, Smart TV, or a game console, or a device like a Roku box, which you may bring if you're buy in the US or in the UK. What's going to change here is we're actually going to add more action to the Netflix experience. We're going to get you to watching something quicker from this menu on. You can just say, hey, Better Call Saul, I want to find out a little bit more. And then what you're used to having to do is hitting this play button again. But instead what we're now going to do is start playback right away and fade the information so you can sit back, relax, and watch Better Call Saul. So we're bringing you one click closer to watching, which actually, interestingly, is a little bit more like the traditional linear TV experience, where when you turn on your TV, you instantly have action. So we're going to get you to the action quicker with this update to Netflix on TVs. An even bigger change to Netflix is coming to the way Netflix looks and works on the web. Many of our viewers watch Netflix on the web, and we haven't changed the Netflix experience on the web since 2011, and there's a big upgrade coming. So if you see this is what you're used to seeing today when you're going to Netflix on the website. It's pretty much DVD box art. It kind of looks like a traditional video store. We're moving to something that is much more immersive and provides much more images as opposed to text to seduce you into watching something on Netflix. So here you see horizontal art, and you'll notice that this looks much more like what you're used to from an app on your, say your phone, smartphone, or your tablet. And instead of opening different pages, when you're hovering over a title, we'll give you images and we'll rotate those images, kind of like what you're used to seeing from Netflix on the TV interface. And if you want to find out even more, you can fold it open underneath. So you're staying on the same page, we provide you more information, and we provide you images rather than text to decide whether you want to watch something. And you can move from title to title like that as well and get more information and pick something to watch. So again, this is a big change for the way Netflix works on the web. It hasn't changed for the last 4 years, and that's why we thought it was overdue to introduce a better experience for Netflix on the web. So beyond the updates to the Netflix user experience on the TV and on the laptop, we're also working on delivering you the best possible picture quality, which means 4K and high dynamic range on smart TVs. So we are working very closely with smart TV manufacturers like LG, Sony, Samsung, and others around the world, as well as with producers of Netflix original programming to create programming that will be available in 4K and in high dynamic range. So with high dynamic range, the cool part is really that a show comes to life in your living room. So when you see a sunrise on your TV with high dynamic range, you kind of feel like you've got to grab the sunglasses and put them on your eyes, because it's going to be that lifelike. It's almost like you're there, like you're outside seeing the sun come up. And you'll probably see Marco Polo being the first Netflix original series that uses high dynamic range, and there are already some pretty cool demos that have clips from Marco Polo if you happen to be at any of the trade shows around the world where TV manufacturers show those off. Additionally, I've mentioned Marco Polo. It's one of those titles that we have globally that will be available on Netflix anywhere Netflix is available. And you may know that we want to bring Netflix to the world, all countries in the world, except for those where US companies are not allowed to do business, like North Korea and Crimea, by the end of next year, by the end of 2016. So what we're looking to do is acquire rights to programming more and more on a global basis, so that we can offer programming everywhere around the world. So that will mean that regardless of whether you are in Denmark, in Finland, in the Netherlands, or Thailand, you can watch the same great Netflix programming. When we're doing negotiations today with the holders of rights or with producers, we will look to acquire the rights for titles on a global basis, so that regardless of where you are, you can watch it at the same time and you have access immediately, kind of doing away with some of the frustrations like, oh, because I'm in Denmark I can't watch this, for example. So ultimately what global licensing will also do for us is kind of do away with this whole discussion around virtually crossing borders. Like pretending that you are in the United States whilst you're actually sitting here in Copenhagen watching Netflix. Because in the traditional world of licensing, rights for TV shows and movies have been bought and sold on a region-to-region or country-to-country basis. There are differences in catalogs for Netflix and for other services between countries as well. So as we start to acquire more and more titles on a global basis, the catalog will become a global catalog. This won't happen overnight. It will take several years for us to really get there, but it will do away with this whole discussion around, VPNing or virtually crossing borders.